Hello. This presentation is brought to you by the Speaking and Writing Center at the University of Mary Washington. Today's topic is group presentations. This presentation will cover the purpose and difficulties of group presentations, group work before presenting, how to handle disagreements, and finally, what your group should do during the presentation. Group presentations are often a part of life. In college, professors may have students get into groups so that we can practice our collaborating abilities. This is to prepare us for the real world, where working with others is an important skill. This is of course true in the job realm and outside of it. Group projects or group presentations take on a lot of different forms. Maybe the presentation is straightforward, but maybe it's more creative and you're all supposed to design a skit together, work as one side of a debate team, or something else. Whatever the assignment, group projects can be a great opportunity. But instead, they get kind of a bad rap. In fact, a lot of people hate group presentations and would much rather work on their own. A lot of it comes down to an unequal division of labor. Some group members do, or feel that they do, more of the work compared to others. This lack of effort creates resentment and makes accurate grading difficult. Another problem is poor communication. Group members don't know what they're doing and may worry about feeling stupid, or they don't care enough to ask for clarification. Sometimes there could be arguing if people disagree about what direction they want to take their presentation in. If you are having any of these problems, don't freak out. Remember that these are all natural symptoms of working with other people, and there are ways to work through them. So, let's talk about how to prepare. The most crucial part of any group work actually takes place before the presentation, in the very first few moments of meeting each other. First impressions really do matter, so try not to waste too much time. Go around and introduce yourselves. Make sure you're paying attention to remembering names. It can be embarrassing and harder to work with someone if you forget. At this point, you should also get each other's contact information. Phone number, email, GroupMe, or social media may all be appropriate to keep in contact with each other about the assignment. Then, start planning. Be as clear as possible. The only way to defeat communication problems is with good communication. Have some ground rules about communication such as don't interrupt, not putting people down, etc. This might sound like kindergarten, but even adults can sometimes find it easy to overlook the most basic communication problems. It might be appropriate to select a designated person as leader. Then, together, discuss and make decisions collectively about how to break the presentation topics or tasks down into individual assignments. If you have a 4-person presentation on UMW, for example, maybe one person talks about the school's history, one talks about classes and education, another covers extracurriculars, and the last person's topic is UMW's community. Check in with each other to see if there's an agreement, and not just one person that's taking over and deciding everything. Create actual set deadlines for when group members should have their assigned section drafted or completed. To make sure this is all clear, have someone in the group write it down. Maybe create a spreadsheet or Google Doc that everyone can edit. Scheduling a time for you all to meet again before the final product is due is a great way to ensure everyone is on track. This can be for anything you need, but it's especially helpful if you can practice running your presentation in person all together. It will make the final product look that much smoother, prevent any last-minute misunderstandings, and avoid topic overlap. Doodle polls are a useful resource when deciding a meeting time that works with everyone's schedule, but it is important to find what works for your group. Google Slides or Google Docs are also helpful tools for online collaboration. When members put their work there, everyone in the group can see it and make suggestions accordingly. With clear expectations, Google Docs, and each other's contact information, it's much easier to hold everyone accountable if someone isn't doing their fair share of the work. And having all of your work in the cloud means that you aren't reliant on one person to show up with the PowerPoint. Speaking of which, seriously, be prepared to present if one member is absent. Professors may not always make you, but in this day and age, there's no excuse for not having the necessary materials, no matter how many people are missing. Even if you're not using a Google Slide or something like that, you can email the materials to your group members. You don't need to be an expert on other people's parts, but look over everyone's so you're prepared in a pinch. If, for whatever reason, you're the one who can't make it to class the day of your presentation, be courteous and tell your classmates as soon as possible so they can prepare given your absence. And don't forget to inform your professor too. So, what do you do if your group is always disagreeing? Here is a flowchart of what you could do. First, identify the disagreement. Is it personal or content related? If it is personal, set the project to the side and try to resolve it amongst yourselves. This can include looking at the ground rules you laid out in the beginning and trying to get to the root of the problem. If this doesn't work, then you can go to your professor as they may have insight on how to help you. If the disagreement is content related, look at the assignment guidelines. If you still have questions, again, you can go to your professor, but in both cases, try to solve it amongst yourself first. Of course, most groups get by fine without these sorts of extreme difficulties. And if you've done the job of setting good expectations and communicating professionally, there shouldn't be any issues. Finally, after all that prep, let's talk about presenting. We're assuming everyone has done their work and prepared adequately, but how do you turn all that great individual work into a cohesive group presentation? The number one thing that you can do to achieve an awesome group presentation is to have transitions between topics. This can be as simple as you saying something at the end of your section, introducing the next person. Something like, and now Sammy D. Eagle is going to talk about the power of friendship. Transitions take any presentation from good to great, but such a small addition really makes your group presentation seem more practiced and seamless. They are especially important if it is a Zoom presentation, as it will allow your group members to unmute without an awkward silence. In general, during a group presentation, don't be afraid to acknowledge your group members' existence when appropriate. Professionalism is important, but not to the point of you being robotic and ignoring each other. In the beginning, you can all introduce yourselves or have one person introduce you. If your idea relates back to what someone else had said previously, don't be afraid to make that callback. For example, like Sammy D. Eagle had mentioned, teamwork really is what's going to work. Connecting the different ideas you're presenting about actually leads to greater learning. Lastly, and perhaps most basically, keep in mind that when your group member is presenting, you are still presenting. Too many times, as soon as one person's part of the presentation is over, they completely zone out. They check their phone, look all over the room, and just generally seem bored. Don't do that. Even if you think this presentation is the most boring thing you've had to do in your entire life, turn towards your presenting group member and pretend to look interested. Actively listen, maybe nod along, and definitely don't check your phone. If everyone does this and the other things mentioned throughout this video, your presentation will be a unified front, no matter what the topic. And that has been how to successfully manage a group presentation. If you would like more information or have questions, search for the Speaking and Writing Center on the UMW homepage to find our contact info. Or use the link in the description. You can also follow us on social media to stay up to date with what we are offering. Thank you for watching. I'm Emma, a consultant at the Speaking and Writing Center. Be sure to leave a like and smash that subscribe button.